Hey guys, welcome back to Lit Survey 11. We are going to be going over the road not taken today. We're going to talk about some vocab, read the poem, and some background information about our author, Robert Frost. So, you're going to watch a warm up video by Kid President, and I want you guys to think about these questions. Have you ever had to pick between two options, and how did you feel? That might be a question you might see later, so keep that in mind. And think about what Kid President's message about life is. Our guiding questions is, why is analyzing poetry important? By the end of the lesson, you'll be able to read, summarize, and analyze elements of poetry in The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. So, just a little bit of information. I'll read some of it, and you can read the rest of it yourself, and you'll have a video to watch. But Robert Frost was born in San Francisco, March 26, 1874. When he was just 11, his father died of tuberculosis, and he left the family with just $8. His mother moved the family to Lawrence, Massachusetts, and this is when Frost became interested in reading and writing poetry. Upon graduation from high school, he enrolled at Dartmouth College and later at Harvard, but he never earned his degree. His personal life was plagued with grief and loss. His mother died of cancer, and he had to commit his younger sister to a mental hospital. He drifted through numerous occupations after leaving Harvard, and his first professional poem was published in 1894. He married Eleanor Miriam White, and she became a major inspiration in his poetry. They owned a farm in New Hampshire and it failed, so they moved to England. And that's where he became acquainted with many famous and popular contemporary British poets. One in particular was the poet Ezra Pound. And in the video that you're going to watch, you'll see a picture of him. And he was a huge influence on Frost's life as a poet. When he had returned to the US in 1950, he'd published two full length collections of poems and was a respected and established poet. By the 1920s, he was the most celebrated poet in America. And he was awarded 4 times the Pulitzer Prize in Poetry. That's an award only given to one poet a year for their distinguished poetry. His wife had heart problems throughout her life, and she ended up developing cancer and died of heart failure. He had 6 children. Many of them died at young ages or into their lives. And only 2 of his daughters ended up ever outliving him, and they lived to be 64 and 84. One really important thing that stands out about Robert Frost's work is that it's mostly associated with life and landscape of New England, but he wrote about universal themes such as death, life, and love. And one of the biggest things is that he used language as it was actually spoken. So his poetry appealed to the common man. And one of his biggest admirers was President John F. Kennedy. And he read one of his poems at the inauguration of him when he became president. So it's pretty exciting. So you'll watch this video attached, and you want to think about some similarities between Frost and Edgar Allan Poe. And I think right off the bat, a big similarity that you can see between Frost and Edgar Allan Poe is kind of this tortured life, this people getting really close to them and passing away. So he lost children, he lost his father. We know that Edgar Allan Poe lost his father, his mother, his stepmother, the love of his life. So a lot of those themes of darkness and death really went into, I think, both of their works. And why did Frost use languages that was actually spoken? That's a huge deal because it really made it accessible to the common man. Some vocab terms we're going to come in contact with in this poem are diverged, undergrowth, fair, claim, trodden, and hence. Diverged is branched off, moved in a different direction. Undergrowth is small trees and plants growing beneath larger trees. Fair is promising and favorable. Claim is demand or right. Trodden is walked on, and hence is from this time. So I'm going to read the poem to you right now. So, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no steps had trodden back. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet, knowing how the way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So I've also attached a link for you to listen to that poem as well. And I would like to go through the poem and kind of just the meaning of it. So we see this picture, two roads diverged in a wood. So we see a man, and there are two arrows pointing to him maybe moving into two separate places. So that's what he comes across this path, and there's two paths he can go to. And sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler, long I stood. So there's only one of him, and there's two paths. So he stood there for a while thinking about what path he was going to take, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. So he at this point is looking at both roads, and he sees that they both look the same, except one looks a little better because it looks like not too many people have walked on it. Though as for the passing there, had warned them really about the same. So besides one road having a little bit more grass, like I said, they really look the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. So he picks one road to go on, and he goes down that road, and then there will eventually be another fork and another uh, turn or another choice he'll have to make. So he realizes he goes so far that he can't go back to the first road. So if you look at this picture, it almost looks like when you see like roads that cross under the underpass of like an interstate. So if you eventually go far enough after you take a path, you can't go back, right? So you kind of venture far away that you'll have other places to choose from. And you really can't do both. So he initially says, well, I'll start here, but maybe I'll come back and go the other way after. But that's not really an option anymore. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. So we know that he's gotten older. He's looking forward to be telling this as he gets older. And this is that big line, probably one of the most important lines in a poem of history, pretty much. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So, why is analyzing poetry important? And reading, summarizing, and analyzing elements of poetry in The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. So, you will be completing your LTS 11 L5, The Road Not Taken check in, and we're going to continue analyzing this poem. So, have a wonderful rest of your day.